Okay, the Commanders picked up Larry Tunsil via trade.
Yeah.
At pick number 29, they take Josh Connerly, the Oregon tackle. And go watch the clips of Connerly blocking Abdul Carter. Connerly
had a good day.
Got the better.
Yeah, he had
of
a
Abdul
good,
Carter.
No doubt.
Kind of directed him wherever he wanted to direct him,
He's a
including
phenomenal athlete. Right.
Into the ground at one point.
Right.
So, hey.
I think the league was shocked he was still there, Mike. I had a lot of people last night after, like, I can't believe Washington got him that late in the round. I think it was shocking.
And they've made it a priority to protect their quarterback, Jayden Daniels. I mean, when I watch these, and I'm looking at one now where Connerly just puts Carter into the dirt. I mean, Laramie Tunsil's clearly the left side. Was Connerly right side?
I think he's another guy that could be an awesome guard too, though. I really think he's actually gonna. I think he has a chance to be an awesome guard. That would be my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think the way how the Commanders went about it, they're obviously putting a tremendous amount of energy and resources into this offense, protecting Jayden Daniels. They probably want to put Jayden in a situation where he has to use his legs significantly less to extend plays and use his legs more for these more like designed runs, kind of almost honestly in a lot of ways with the Philadelphia Eagles, where it's kind of really more of like the ultimate get out of jail free card, where it's just kind of like your mobility to extend plays is really like your 100% last option, rather than kind of like that's our go-to. And we want you to not have to call hike and go backwards with such regularity. We want you to be able to really stand in the pocket because he's such a beautifully gifted thrower of the ball. And when you do have a great O-line and you can get that run game going and you are a threat to run yourself, like that's when you can really get settled into this just magical dance of the RRPO, where it's like either Jayden's going to run or he's going to keep it himself and run, he's going to keep it himself and throw, or he's going to hand the ball off. And it just adds, especially when you have a player like also like adding Debo to the mix, it really just adds another layer to this offense. Now, I wanted them to really go heavy on defense because I kept talking about how if they can just improve their defense, if Dan Quinn can turn this defense into a top defense, top 5, top 3, like he's consistently done over the years, it's just, it's a wrap. But they're obviously continuing to go all in on offense as well. But then in the second round, they went out and got Trey Amos, who a lot of people did not think was necessarily going to be available. I don't know if he dropped because of injury or whatnot, but just the sheer fact, he's a big guy, 6'1", 195, really fast, physical, and you got to think about the guys that he's going to be asked to stop, right? Again, specifically, you're a Commanders fan, you're looking at the Eagles as your number one team, and so that offense can get after it. So I think this is a great pick. I'm excited to see when you give Dan Quinn some defensive draft capital. I mean, it just feels right now that like they took care of the offense. You're going to maximize what you have there with obviously Jayden Daniels, Cliff Kingsbury, and an O-line that's going to buy you time, protect you, hopefully improve the quality of the run game beyond Jayden Daniels, because that drove me crazy when Jayden Daniels was the leading rusher too frequently, too regularly. I want to see that dramatically drop significantly. I want to see Jayden Daniels in a lot of ways his need for undesigned runs to go down, right? I don't mind the design runs and having him get down and whatnot, but want to keep him upright, want to keep him, in rhythm. Like I said, he's such a beautifully gifted thrower of the ball, but and he's obviously so quick and his mobility is so awesome that you almost forget just how special of a passer he is, and you want to be able to lean into that. So I do like that they solidified the O-line there, but like now moving forward, and I'm recording this when this was the last pick for the Commanders. So if you're watching this, I don't know what other picks followed, but I'm excited to see them actually with Dan Quinn build a great defense. Really kind of his vision for what this defense needs and how they kind of need to get after it, because again, what we're learning, especially or over these last few years, like it's not just about as many points as you can put up. Like right now we're kind of flush with a lot of special quarterbacks, right? The Lamar Jacksons, the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomeses, the Joe Burrow, et cetera, Jayden Daniels. And it's not necessarily about how many points can you score. It's really like, can we slow down these other teams' offenses? And I highlighted this in previous videos with the Commanders of just like, you didn't not win because of your offense. It wasn't like, if they only had more weapons, if they only had another wide receiver, if their O-line was better, their run game was better. Like, not really. Like, that stuff's always going to help you, obviously, but it was the defense. It was going 7 for 7 in the red zone. Against having the Eagles go 7 for 7 against you in the red zone. Now, I know there was turnovers. I know there was fumbles. It doesn't matter. You went 7 for 7. You couldn't stop. You couldn't slow them down. You couldn't force a field goal. You couldn't force them to go for it on 4th down, not get it, and now boom, momentum swing. Like, you could not do that. And how in like a month ago, I highlighted kind of how the Eagles played the Ravens and how the Commanders played the Ravens, and the difference was not offense; it was defense. So that's what I kind of continue to be like. That's what I'm going to continue to wait for, honestly. And like I've said in a lot of my recent videos with the Commanders, it's just like, when you set Jayden Daniels up to only need to be like a game manager, like, he's going to do that at such an elite level and such a consistent and special level. It's just like, I can't imagine that you're going to really be watching many games and just be like, man, Jayden Daniels gave that away. Or, he really didn't need to force that throw. Why did he do? Like, I just don't see it. So it's just such smooth sailing. So it's interesting. They're obviously trying to improve both sides of the ball in a way as aggressively as they can. But they obviously were way more willing to really kind of put majority of their resources offensively. And I guess, I'd love to know who's leading that charge. Is it Dan Quinn, ownership, GM, etc.? Like who's leading that? Is Dan Quinn kind of like, let's go all in offensively, I will take care of defense? Essentially the opposite of what Sean Payne's, because Sean Payne's kind of like, let's go all in defensively. I'm the offensive guy. I got Bo Nix. I got an O-line. Like, I will find ways to make this work. Let's put majority of our resources into the defense. And now you have Dan Quinn on the opposite side, where he's kind of like, listen, this offense is special. Jayden is special. Let's make it even more special. I got another year with this defense. Obviously, we're going to draft some guys, but I can get this defense significant. This defense was already getting better as the weeks gone on, as I had more time with them. This defense I might not be able to make it a top 5 defense in a snap of the fingers. I need another draft or so, but like, we don't have to force that issue. Like, we want to keep Jayden Daniels upright. We want to keep him safe. We want to reduce his load offensively. So I'd love to know who's the guiding hand here, and what some of those conversations and how they're taking place. At this point, it's kind of impossible to know, honestly. But I think the Commanders are definitely in a great spot. They need to find themselves in positions where they're winning less games so close, and I think they will. And again, not to be a broken record, from my viewpoint, that has to be more through defense than just putting up more points offensively. But at the end of the day, they're going to protect their quarterback way better than they did last year, which also should improve the run game, and which should also lead to more sustained drives, which then can also help your defense. And then again, it becomes a feedback loop. So all in all, though, I think they got 2 great picks. And again, I'm recording this only after the first 2 rounds, so their first and second round, like, there's no pick here that you're just kind of like, oh gosh, why did they do that, or why did they trade up for that? Like, I think they knocked it out of the park on both sides of the ball so far. So excited to see kind of what they continue to do in the later rounds. But this is definitely the juice of it. This is definitely the meat of it for sure. And it seems like they kind of got 2 steals, honestly. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Washington Commanders' move so far in the NFL draft? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.